The war in Westfield, the Stratford skirmish, or the Newham naughtiness. Well, whatever it was, that was an attritional game. And I've got to say, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Low in skill, but high in octane. I don't even know what I'm talking about now. Let me just get to talking about the game and the players, probably for the best. Well, do you remember when we signed Thilo Kehrer? Moyes basically said, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I can't remember what he started. So I'll call it. It wasn't Tom. It was something beginning with T. I'll tell you what. He'll know his name now, even if he didn't know it before, because that was one hell of a performance. That was just a consummate central defensive performance. It was more than that. His passing performance was that as a central midfielder. When he pulled wide, he was crossing it like a winger. And still doing the interceptions, still doing the heading, still doing all that stuff. When I did the review, funny enough, I was doing a review. If you look at the comments in the review, Gio asked me, he said, who's your man of the match for today? And I said, well, to be honest, Gio, I'm going to have to give it to the goal scorer. Obviously being tongue-in-cheek, saying that Kehrer had scored an own goal, and then went on to explain why Thilo Kehrer should win the man of the match. And there's a comment on it saying, really, Gonzo? I know Soucek scored, but crikey, you should have given it to Kehrer. And actually, I did. So I did particularly enjoy that bit. Look, what a great game. What a fantastic performance for so many players. And I think I was most chuffed with the manner of it. I think it's been suggested that the team spirit is no good. I think it's been suggested that some people have said David Moyes lost the dressing room, that Declan Rice can't lead. There's been a lot of things that have been said, and I think a lot of them were disproven in that game, basically, because I just don't think you play like that with such intensity, with such aggression, with such determination to get back into the game if you're not playing for the manager. I just don't think you can galvanise the players around you like Declan Rice did if you don't have leadership abilities. And I for one, I just thought it was a great game. Look, like any West Ham fan, I think I was concerned at points that we might not get anything for the game, but you know what, we deserved it. I thought we deserved to win, and I don't mean to say that just because it's Tottenham. Hopefully I've got enough credit in the bank that, you know, I will call it. If I think we played badly, I think we don't deserve to win, I'll say so. I thought it was quite a tight game, but I thought we edged it. I thought we had more chances and the better chances, really. I thought the way we nullified Kane was really good. I loved the way Zuma kept on sort of following him. Zuma would go into midfield quite a lot, actually, to sort of follow him. And I thought that was really good. And when he did, Declan Rice would drop deep and sort of fill in the gap there, really. So Kehrer played really well. I didn't think we were functioning well down in wide positions. I was a little bit worried about Jarrod Bowen. Clearly, he grew into the game. When I say grew into the game, he started getting better after about 70 minutes. But I don't have a lot of blame for him now. I think he was kicked really, really badly. I mean, they were targeting, not just targeting fouling to put him off his game. I felt like they were trying to injure him. I really did. And I think that's disappointing to see, I've got to say. And I mentioned in the review, I don't think Tottenham can have too many complaints if a player of theirs suffers a long-term injury this season, because it's the first time in a little while that I felt, probably since Brentford last season, where I felt a team were out to try and injure some of our players. I felt that, you know, obviously last season, as I mentioned. So much to like from that game, though. I thought Soucek and Declan Rice's partnership in the middle was really, really good. Declan Rice played well and played differently to Soucek. Soucek joined the attack. Soucek was good at tackling. Soucek was looking for his mate, Soufal, with every opportunity. But as I say, I think there was a certain amount that wasn't functioning down that right-hand side, but it did get better as the game went on. Down the left-hand side, there was something weird going on, still haven't quite sussed it out, but obviously Cresswell was caught with his pants down, really, up there for the goal, but I was pleased he was attacking. I don't apportion any blame to him for the goal. I think Fornal's put in a real shift on that left-hand side as well, has to be said. Benrahma, Benrahma didn't play too badly, but I was a little bit disappointed that the thing I think he's stopped doing, Benrahma, and why I think he's really improved, I think his passing has improved, and I like the way he drives into the box. And what he stopped doing in all the previous games is checking on his right foot and then just trying to shoot. And he did it twice when there were better options open. I also think Benrahma's two best games have been when he's played on the left wing. Whereas I think look, I wanted him to play in the middle. I just think he's made great strides this season. He's looked like a left winger this season. So, anyway, it worked. Whatever happened, I thought by and large the tactics worked in this game. And that's another thing that we've been criticised for. David Moyes has received criticism for, certainly. And I've criticised him for it when he's got his tactics wrong, particularly against Brighton, against Graham Potter. He got those tactics spot on today. And, you know, we call it when he gets outdone by a manager. I thought he had not quite Conte's number, but I thought he was every inch his match in that one. Tell you what, the Man City result don't look too bad now. Did you see? Lingard was on the bench, apparently. Obviously, I didn't watch the game. I was watching the West Ham game, but I kept on seeing messages come through. Okay, somebody we didn't discuss in the review, Paquetá. I've got to say, I was really... Well, I was impressed. I was buzzing when he came on. That's the word I'm looking for. I was buzzing when he came on. Could feel the lift that he gave the stadium. Really did. And look, we saw some fleeting glimpses. I'll tell you what we learnt already. He'll go back and he'll put the tackle in. Not a problem at all. You can absolutely see why Moyes targeted him. He's somebody who's going to do the skillful stuff, but also he's going to get back and he's going to put the tackle in. And he wants to win the ball back, and he wants to win it back quickly. As I thought our pressing in that game was really, really, really good, actually. So when he came on, instantly he wants to move forward. And if there's no space for it to move forward into, he will move the ball forward quickly. He's straight away looking for that forward pass. There was a little bit, and obviously you've all watched the game, you'll know the bit. I mean, when there was an exchange of passes between him and Declan Rice, and they sort of ran down the left. It smacked of two good players, like basically two world-class footballers, recognising each other and saying, I'm having some of this. There was a mix-up at the end where he could have scored a goal. Emerson left it, he left it. The irony of two teammates who both played at Olympique Lyonnais, and both two Brazilians. Yes, I know Emerson plays for Italy, but he's Brazilian. So let's say this, two Portuguese-speaking players who both played at Olympique Lyonnais last season, and not having a communication. I thought that was and look, we can laugh at it. We can laugh at it now. That will only get better, and that's, I guess, Glenn Hoddle, who was doing the commentating, if you didn't know that and you were at the game, he was at pains to point out that, you know, somebody should have given somebody else a shout there. So I'm sure that will happen. If he's not trained with his teammates, that's only going to get better. He looks a class act. He really does. This is not one of those players that David Moyes is... I don't want to hear about the acclimatising. I'm not criticising David Moyes now. I've just given David Moyes a lot of praise. But I don't want to hear about the acclimatising. We've got to get him ready and all the rest of it. Got to play him. He's top class, he's top quality. Very seldomly do West Ham get a player as good as that. And I just want to see more from him. Talking about a player as good as that, I'll go back to Kehrer, if I may. I don't know what the situation is. As far as I understand it, we only got Kehrer because we got a little bit surprised, I think, by two things. Number one, the Agerd injury, and number two, that Diop forced a transfer through. So bearing in mind, we weren't chasing him. I'm not saying he wasn't on the scouting list, he hadn't been scouted. Clearly he had, but were we looking to get him right now? I'm not so sure. Bearing in mind that's happened, and bearing in mind he was sort of, whatever, second choice or an afterthought, if you want to say that. And then we've only gone and paid, what was it? Was it something like 10 million for him? To get a player that good, international player in his mid-20s that's that good, I'm astounded by. I've been crying out for some pace in the team for quite some time. And granted, maybe I wasn't asking for it first of all at centre-back. But it's really good to have it. There was a couple of foot races with Son where Son just didn't get away from him. And I was really delighted to have that. And Son actually basically had to check back or run wide when, under normal circumstances, Son would have just made a beeline and headed straight, absolutely straight for the goal. And he couldn't do that because he just wouldn't be able to cut inside. Basically, Kehrer was quick enough to show him wide. And absolutely delighted with that, really was. You know what? I don't blame him for that goal at all. Which is, you know what? To such an extent, I don't want even to talk about it anymore. He's had a couple of unlucky starts to his career, but you can't disguise the class that he's got. I love the way he passes forward really quickly. I love the fact that he defends and he wants to defend, but he really quickly wants to turn that defence into attack. And it's something that I mentioned with Agurd, and I expected with Agurd. I mentioned all the time with Agurd, when I saw him play, he looks like a type of player who will suit our style of play, who will suit what David Moyes wants to do. Well, this guy will do that as well. For the exact reason I just said, he'll turn defence into attack really, really quickly. When the opposition are going that way, he'll just change the momentum and change direction of the game extremely quickly. In many respects, I can't wait for the next game, which is obviously against Chelsea. I just want to see, not just for the game, I want to see more of these players. I want to see more of Kehrer there. I want to see Soucek carry on improving, and now he's got on the goal trail. I want to see Antonio and Scamacca battle it out to see who's going to be the top dog. It doesn't matter. They'll both play lots, but I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying the motivation that the competition for places is giving each one. I'm looking forward to seeing a little bit of Cornet. Obviously, hasn't featured much at all, but when he does feature, I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm just looking forward to seeing loads of Kehrer. Looking forward so much to seeing our record signing play more as well. And seeing him from the start against a team that aren't as hard to play against as Tottenham. And I think that's what I want to say. I mean, Tottenham for not for all their faults. That's a terrible way of saying it. For all the fact that they don't really pass the ball really well, and they are not an attacking team. Let's put it that way. They're still a bloody hard team to break down. They're really resilient defensively. And my point really being, most teams in the Premier League will be easier to play against than Tottenham. And when we face a team that are not as organised, a lot of teams sit back, but hardly any of them are as organised and as resolute as Tottenham. And to see Paquetá against a team that is not as good as Tottenham, I'm licking my lips to see it. Really am, and to see the different combinations, see the different partnerships develop. I'm looking forward to seeing a bit more of Emerson. I've got to be honest with you. I want to see a little bit more of him. I don't buy into the, there's a lot of negativity when we first signed him. Do I think he's a world beater? I said this before, world beating left back, left wing back, wherever he's going to play. No, probably not. But I'll tell you what, I don't think he's garbage either. I'm looking forward to seeing a little bit more of him, and I don't read too much into that mix-up just in the same way that I don't read too much into the own goal from Kehrer. I think it appears, it's hard to say, I think we've done some good business. It's so early in the season, it's hard to say. But it would appear that we brought some decent players in, and there's a lot of promise there. And I'm looking forward to the development of this. This is the next phase of David Moyes' team. It's a complete overhaul, really. Now, and I know the team that we started with was mostly last season's team, but I think by the time he's finished, halfway through the season, we're going to see a very different looking team, and maybe even slightly different in the way we play. But I think what was nice was I've got a feeling and a hunch that we can incorporate these new players, Kehrer, Paquetá, whatever, Scamacca, I think, and almost change the way we play a little bit, but to allow them to flourish, but still retain all the core strengths of what made us decent for the past two seasons. Because there was a lot of spirit, a lot of team spirit in that performance against Tottenham. Anyway, it's transfer deadline day. Stuff's going to happen today. I think we're live at about 9 o'clock, something like that. Wouldn't be surprised if Gio does some updates throughout the day as the breaking news happens. So I'll see you all at 9 o'clock. But I'll tell you what, absolutely buzzing about that.